Alright, so it's time for another live game. Now yesterday I had one of the best ladder sessions that I've played recently. Let's just hope we can continue it today as well. So my first match of the day is a Zerg versus Zerg. I've already set up my camera hotkeys, so I can quickly jump to those locations. And I'm already sending out my first two overlords across the map. Now, my main concern in the early game of Zerg vs Zerg is cheese. There's a lot of Zergling aggression, obviously with Metabolic Boost being a very quick upgrade. You can get yourselves a lot of Zerglings out early on and you can try and overwhelm your opponent. A lot of people do still like to go for that very aggressive Zergling cheese, and while I personally don't really play it very often, there's no denying that it's still common enough for me to keep it in mind. And going for that hatchery on the low ground, well, it is technically not risky if your micro is perfect. If you're a decent player, it's still gonna be hard. You don't really see a lot of 13-12 cheese on like, you know, for example, GSL, like the highest level in StarCraft 2. Just because those players in Zerg vs Zerg just easily hold it. They're very good at the Zergling micro, but obviously, on the ladder, it's a bit of a different story. Some people literally cheese every single game they play. I know, I'm looking at you. There's a couple of you that know I'm talking to you. There's some people out there that cheese literally every single game. And it looks like my opponent is doing something along those lines as well. This is a bit of a cheese with a drone pool. I'm gonna have to build some spiny boys. I gotta be real careful. Gonna make a baneling nest? I can. I'll make a bit of a wall. If I can catch some of these units, that'd be wonderful. Gotta be careful because he's also constructing some of his own units there. This is a bit of a mess. I actually don't really know exactly how this is going to play out, to be honest with you. It's going to take these units a long time before they can really get the damage in. Can you not mine over there, please? Oh, jeez. Got some suicidal workers. Now, keep in mind, this is a 100% all-in from my opponent. There's no denying that part. Queen, go and help us! Whew. And it looks like we just barely managed to hold on. Which I think should be game over, right? Ooh, we did send some additional workers across. I think I lost a little more than I really needed to be completely honest with you, but this is gonna be strange. He had more drones moving across, that does mean that he made some more. I'm not entirely sure if I'm in that great of a spot here. Usually, the first match of the day is a little sloppy. I think I could have saved some of those drones that got poked away at by that spine crawler. I'm droning up behind this. This is strange. This is really strange. I can go ahead and put some drones into gas, I suppose, which is nice. But I gotta be careful. I can't really afford to just make non-stop units here. Now, I want to try and get a Baneling out. Banelings can obviously change the tide of battle quite easily. He still has a pretty solid amount of units there. Now keep in mind, I've been droning here, right? Which is pretty important. This is mostly just for zoning purposes at this point. I want to get like a feel of how many units he's got. Bombas! Sorry. And even though I lost a little bit more than I wanted to there, the bomba connected with those Zerglings. But I want to see how many drones he actually left at home. So he left 2 drones at home, and then he followed up with non-stop Zerglings. That's kind of interesting, right? Now, I'm pretty happy with this win, because on paper, this is a 100% build order loss. If your opponent pulls drones and you went for a hatchery first, that's basically game over. If my opponent would have microed perfectly, I'm pretty sure he should be able to hold. Now, I kind of like this. This is the first time I'm trying that Baneling nest there. I kind of like that Baneling nest sitting over in that area just because it kind of blocks a lot of the Zerglings from getting in, and it made it hard for him to get that Spinecrawler kill. I do think I probably should have made one more Spine though, because I'm basically always going to lose one of them, and having a third one would make it much easier. Now this Spinecrawler over here got way too many kills. Like that was kind of sloppy by me. I think it got, like, he's poking away at drones here. That's just sad. So I lose a whole lot of drones here. Not as many as he did, obviously. And he already did end up losing just by simply... or I guess he already ended up keeping only a handful of drones at home, right? So it made it difficult for him to be in a good spot anyway. So I think even though I lost quite a bit here... I lost 6 drones. It's actually even in workers right now, but I'm ahead tech-wise, right? Because I've got that Baneling nest, and I also have still that queen as well as 2 Spinecrawlers. So I'm really well defended, whereas he's still substantially behind. So he tried to go for some additional workers here, which is really quite greedy, but I guess it's the best you can do. But then we had that one juicy Baneling hit. It's very important to micro that. And apparently that was all she wrote. Cool. Now for those of you curious, I am currently playing at 5.4k MMR, and I know everyone always asks. My APM in that game was 282. Now it's a really short one. Usually it goes up to, I think, like, if it's like a 20-minute long game, it will probably average at like 350 actions per minute. But in this particular game, it was at 282. Of which, yes, I know some of you are gonna point it out, probably at least 200 were basically useless. Alrighty, looks like we have another Zerg player that we're going up against in the second match of the day. Don't think I've played against this Grandmaster before, but we'll have to try our best. I'm gonna open up exactly like I did previously, okay? Let's go ahead and give him the GLHF. Dr. Drones is ready for action. Some of you have been, what was it? 520, I think? Something like that. Some of you have been wondering, Lowko, why the heck is your account cold? Whoa! He's not very nice! Why is he... Alright. Here's what we do with people that are just being really rude. Just get rid of them. This happens at, like, pretty much every level of play. But anyways, some of you have asked, Lowko, why are your accounts not called Lowko? So I've got one account called Lowko, I've got one account called Dr. Drones, and I've got one account called Lenny the Ling. I like to change my account names from time to time just in case people, you know, snipe me on the ladder, or it happens every once in a while where people try and watch the stream while I'm playing against them. So I'm basically trying to sort of hide my nickname and change it occasionally. Now this account was actually supposed to be called Indiana Drones. Sadly, it didn't fit the character limits, so I had to go with Dr. Drones instead, which is fair enough. I've had a couple of different account names. Winky Face, Game of Drones. I've basically had a lot of Zerg puns as nicknames. If you have any recommendations for future names, let me know down below in the comment section of the video. Anyway, guys, looks like we are going up against another Zerg player. Now, some people take it as part of their strategy to try and offend their opponent. It's pretty common. I noticed this in particular in a lot of the viewer games that I cast and a lot of the Patreon game analysis that I do, where I try and help out people improve in StarCraft 2. A lot of people are talking a lot and they're basically trying to distract their opponent. I have absolutely no shame just blocking people that are being rude. So this guy wanted me to leave because he thinks I'm like too low in MMR or something, and it's like not worth his time. I mean, I've been playing this game for too long to get flustered by that. I know a lot of people get really flustered by those kind of comments, and I honestly can't really bother worrying about it all too much. If it's a win, it's a win. If it's a loss, it's a loss. StarCraft 2, like, so if you're familiar with, like, investing, right? In investing, there's a very common strategy called dollar cost averaging, where basically, since you know the market grows over time, if you invest monthly, you will pretty much always gain future gains, right? Anyways, long story short, StarCraft 2 is a game that plays very similarly. You gotta play a lot in order to improve over time. Short-term ups and downs are always gonna happen, and that's just kind of how it is. But you gotta always look for the long-term improvement. StarCraft 2 is no fun when you're just looking at the short-term victories. Don't think it's worth really being all too bothered by any of that kind of thing. Okay. Let's go ahead and make a third queen. Let's keep on these injects. Third hatchery is also going up for him. Yeah, but yeah, basically what I'm trying to say, right? A lot of people get very angry in like short-term losses, but I don't think it's really worth your time. I really think you want to always be focused on long-term improvement. And the only way you're going to improve in the long term is by playing a lot of games. Did you leave any of those Zerglings behind? Don't think so. Alright, looks like we're going to have to play a little bit defensively, judging by the amount of units that are currently moving across. That's fair enough. I'm making drones right now. I'm feeling confident. I've got a lot of stuff. As long as I don't walk into a bunch of banelings, it should be okay. Alrighty. Nice control there by my opponent. Well done. Okay. Great control by him. Alrighty. Difficult to keep track of everything that's going on, but I think we're doing a decent enough job. So I didn't really lose a lot of workers here. I lost a couple. There's no denying that part, but I think all things considered, we're in a good spot. Okay. So basically my opponent is using the good old brute force strategy, where you basically try and brute force your opponent out of the game. Only takes one little mistake to lose the game. Trying to squeeze out a couple drones every once in a while as well. Sadly, I did end up losing a little bit more there than anticipated. Sadly, also just barely did not finish up that Baneling there. That's really unfortunate. I was really hoping I would there, but fair enough. Well done by him. So my next plan is to obviously play 2 base. And I think sadly, my opponent will be able to overwhelm me here. Alright, let's go ahead and give him the GG well played, and let's have a look at the replay. Alrighty, so here we are in the replay of the game. Now I think overall, I played this pretty well, but I think I just squeezed out a little bit too many workers. If I would have been able to hold on for just a little bit longer, I would have 100% have been able to overwhelm him with superior numbers. Because basically, if, say, I've got like 35 drones and he's got like 25, the longer the game goes on, the more income I will generate, and therefore the more units I'm going to be able to produce. Now, my control slipped at a couple of moments. My queen control could have been a little bit better, and I also probably could have microed my links and banes just a little bit better. If I would have been able to pull that off, I think I would have been able to win the game. So I'm mostly curious right here at the amount of workers in total. Now, by the way, oh, he apologized? What a guy. By the way, because of the fact that I blocked him in game, we couldn't see what he was typing while we were playing the game. But obviously in the replay, it's still part of the game, I suppose, so you can still read back what went down. Yeah, some people are just overall rude, you know. It's just kind of how life works. I personally choose not to be rude to people, because if I'm feeling tilted in real life, that's my problem. And I don't really want to take that out on other people, because you don't really achieve anything with that. But some people, you know, need to justify feeling bad by shit-talking other people. It's just kind of how it is. Anyways, yeah, you can see I was very far ahead here worker-wise, and I just simply mismicroed here for a little bit. And that was what ultimately gave him the victory. And for those of you curious, that was a 6,000 MMR player, which I think does put him at, yeah, rank 65. Whew. Rank 65 Grandmaster on the ladder. Alrighty, and the final match of the day is, if I'm not mistaken, against the same person that we faced off against in the first match. So, I want to be very careful. I think it's the same guy. He's in the same clan anyway. But I want to be very careful here. I don't want to take my expansion too aggressively. I'm just going to go for a 15 hatch on the low ground. Which is extremely safe. If you want to play even safer, you can go pool first. But, I don't really like going pool first very much. Feel pretty confident going hatchery first, and as long as we don't get our structures too late, I think we should be fine. But I am, you know, as long as he remembers that it's me, right? He's likely not gonna do the same build once more. But if he defaults to drone pushes, in particular on Fracture, which is a really small map, I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna be seeing some of those juicy workers once again moving out. And I'm actually gonna put my overlords on a bit of a different path so we can scout the main locations in which he might be moving. Gonna put down the spawning pool over there, and we'll make a couple more drones. So that was a much safer hatchery on the low ground, a much earlier gas, and a much earlier spawning pool too. Which, in case it's a macro game, is not gonna hurt me very much. If it's a cheese, there's a good chance it will give me the advantage that I need. Alrighty. Let us see how this goes. So I've spotted a second overlord. That means that is just a normal timed overlord, and I can probably expect him to be playing something relatively normal here as well. Now him scouting out the timing of my natural here may actually confuse him, because my creep is going to be out further, my queens are going to come out quicker as well, and he might think that I'm doing something that I'm not, which is always good. There's like a 15-14-14 build where you basically play a lot of Zerglings really aggressively. And there is his hatchery as well, finishing up on the low ground. So, I like how he's got... I'm pretty sure it's the same opponent anyway. But I like how he's got a variety of builds. Is that a hatch gas pool in the greediest way possible on the smallest map? Or to go for a drone pool with like a 12 pool Zergling. It's kind of funny how that variety of builds works out. But anyways, let's go ahead and build up a third base here as soon as we can. He's already got the third base coming up right now. Greedy Zerg. I don't mind that. But that's pretty fun. Alright, pretty aggressive. Nicely done by him.
We require not enough energy. We require more minerals. We require more minerals.
Another overlord. And we'll go ahead and put one more drone right over here and make a gas. Very good. Gotta put some workers back into the gas. And I'm gonna start producing some Zerglings now too, with the first injects pushing some additional larvae off. Oh, nice little pickup there. My link speed is done already, which may confuse him. I don't know if he saw that obviously, but may confuse him just a little. I don't have a ton of workers, so I don't want to like go all in with this. If I can, I would like to transition towards other units, but third should be finishing up here. Wait, no link speed? Are you sure, buddy? That's weird. Oh, okay. So that's a really quick roach warn. You know what? I'm just gonna... Woo! Nope. I said I was gonna go into the main, but in retrospect, not gonna happen. Alright, so let's go ahead and pick up his third, and then we'll go from there. He's likely already got a lair, which I would not be surprised by. Let's go ahead and pick up the queen too. Yep, he's already at lair. So he skipped out link speed and he went for a really quick upgrade. Very curious. Now, we can't underestimate this. I've got 3 bases, sure, but I've got no drones there, right? So I have to be extremely careful with how I'm playing this out. Overlord speed, can't afford that. Got +1 attack coming up. I don't know if I can afford that. I'm gonna have to make a lot of Zerglings, I can tell you that much. He does not have +1 missile yet, but if he finishes it up, his roaches are gonna 3-shot my Zerglings rather than 2-shot, which is a really big deal. So I'm just making non-stop army right now. Ideally, I would have saved up to start producing my own roaches, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Might have to give up that base. Let's go ahead and scout if he's remaking that Overlord. Okay, got a lot of roaches coming up. Oh man, bit of a misclick there by me. It's okay, we're buying time until my roaches are out. He does not have an upgrade yet. My roaches should be here in a sec. Okay, following up with drones right now. Very good. I will be finishing up my own... Oh, did he make another base over here? That would be pretty cool. I'll be finishing up my own +1 here in just a little bit. So obviously that's going to be pretty good. Although I don't think I'm going to go up against Zerglings in this particular case. Still going to be able to deal some damage. Okay, there's no third for him. That's a big deal. If there's no third for him, I'm feeling pretty I'm feeling pretty confident. He's only just now grabbing it because I've got a really nice economy in comparison to him. Let's go ahead and pick up a lair. I'll queue up +1 carapace here too. And I want to try and get a bigger economy than him. So I know for a fact that he's stuck on a maximum of 44 drones. That's all you can really support on 2 bases. Obviously, he could be flooding them right now, but I'd be very surprised. So all I need to do is get a bigger eco than him. So I've got a pretty good amount of workers right now at my 3rd. You can hover over the top right-hand corner here to see how many workers you exactly have. Which you may have noticed. I've got 48 right now. Making a lot of overlords. Gonna start up my 2nd evolution chamber too. And I'm keeping these Zerglings over here just to sort of force him to not move out. You can see he has roach speed as well as +1 right now. Oh, he might actually be pushing. Okay, gonna pick up that queen. And we'll go ahead and set up the concave here. Defender's advantage is massive on this map. I don't have roach speed yet. Alright, and he most definitely planned on dealing some good damage there, and it did not happen. I've got definitely a big amount of workers here in comparison to his economy, which is great. I want to start a +2 missile. Don't know if that's too greedy. It might be a little too greedy. Well, you can see he's still gathering, though. Roach speed is going to make things easier. It's all going to be about position, right? Position is everything. He's also now got some Ravagers out, so he's definitely banking gas. Which indicates to me that he does likely not plan on really following this up with too much as far as upgrades go. That was mean. Okay. Does he have any workers here? A couple, not that many. Roach speed is almost done. +1 armor finished up. I'm scared right now. I would go for the tunneling claws upgrade, but I think it's a little much. I think I'm gonna go for a push. I've got a lot of army here. Can follow up with a couple more drones. But we're gonna go for a big committed attack right now. Okay. Big counterattack here by my opponent. Now, I left a lot of units over here. Over at his third base, that is. And I've got a big army here at home as well. He's target firing my Roach Warren. Ooh, that's a big set of biles. Yet I'm killing a lot of his eco as well, though. And I've also cleaned up the majority of this army here, which I think is going to be an advantage for me in the long run. He killed a lot of drones while it was all going on. We're going to have to sort of finish the game right here, or at least get a overwhelming advantage. Okay, we're killing his third base. How many workers are remaining? 37? Yeah, I'm definitely at elite. Let's go ahead and pick up that expansion. But Dr. Drones is once again successful. So let me see if my gut instinct in this game was right. I felt like I was at a good advantage, but sometimes it's easy to overestimate it. I found myself very often assuming that I would be going for an so here's the situation I found myself in, right? This has happened to me 1,000 times when playing StarCraft. Sometimes when you go for a 3-base Zerg army and your opponent is playing 2-base, you assume you're ahead economically because, you know, you've got 3 bases and he's got 2. However, when you're playing 2-base, you're feeling much less threatened because you can sort of create a wall here, in particular on a map like this with a really tight choke. You can wall with like 2 structures, a bunch of queens, and you feel like you can really get away with a ton of drones. So it's very easy to assume you're ahead when you're not actually ahead, right? Now, I think that I was at a nice advantage here after I killed this third, and I think I did not undermake workers. Let's have a look though. Yeah, okay, good. So judging by this right now, you can see I'm sitting on 34 versus 25 and actually got 6 drones finishing up. I may have even over-droned here a little bit. Anyway, he was planning to go for a +1 roach timing here and then to have a third base on the back of it. Which didn't really happen here, right? I lose a couple drones here, but not too many. Yeah, I lose a couple workers, but not too many. And I'm still, after that, aggression settles in a good spot. Okay. Yeah, so overall, I'm pretty happy with this. Now, what he does have going for him at this point is that lair. So he's got the tech advantage. And he's got a good upgrade here. That's a pretty early one. Now, interestingly enough, I put down my Evo Chamber as sort of like a panicked response to him already having that Evo Chamber and the lair. Assuming he was already starting up +1 missile. It turns out I actually finished my +1 missile upgrade before he did. So he made the Evo Chamber really early on. And then he actually didn't really do very much with it. So I think my opponent is probably one of those players who doesn't like playing the Ling Bane style. Some people just don't want to play that. So he probably just tries to skip that phase in the game by either going for like a very aggressive cheese or by, for example, going for the roach tech immediately. I think overall, though, this game was really nice. You can see I'm ahead worker-wise. And while he finally now catches up, 50 drones versus 48, I've been ahead for like the first 8 minutes. Now, that doesn't sound very significant, right? But say... So the knowledge we have is that a drone mines about 0.8 minerals a second, right? So say I've got 5 workers more than him for the duration of like 5 minutes. Should we do the math? I'm gonna open up, okay, my Google Calendar, or my Google calculator rather. 0.8 minerals a second, 5 workers, for 60 seconds a minute, and then say for like, you know, the first 8 minutes, right? It's not quite like that, but it totals to 1,920 minerals of an advantage. Now, obviously, it doesn't really work precisely like that. We don't really know exactly how much a drone mines in this particular game. We just know the averages. And I wasn't precisely 5 workers ahead at every single moment in the game. But 5 workers for 8 minutes apparently does give you an advantage of roughly 1,900 minerals, which is very substantial. Now, I don't think that's what happened in this particular case, but you can still see, because I ended up losing a little bit more than my opponent, that I'm at a lead though. So I lost about, I would say about 800 minerals here, or 800 resources more than my opponent, which still, you know, gives me a net total of about 1,000 resources more. And I know I take a very calculated approach in that regard, but it adds up very rapidly. I also kill a couple workers here. 4 drones actually, it's not bad. Not bad at all. And I think this move right here kind of threw me off though. Right, I assumed, so the reason why I knocked down these rocks is so I could try and cut him off. I wanted to try and cut off his retreat path, which is either over here or over here, so I can get a good like location here and I can swoop in and take this concave. Instead he went for the counter. I did not expect that. The counter would have made sense if the lurker den was already done, but the lurker den has just now started. And as we all know, lurker dens take about 4.5 years to finish. So I do a big counter attack, leave a couple roaches over there. And I'm sending the majority of my army back. I think I pull some more over here. Yeah, I pull a couple more. The biles were good though. And he sniped my roach warren too, which is also kind of tricky. But you can see here, supply-wise, he's absolutely plummeted. And while he's still ahead worker-wise, because he must have target fired down quite a few of those drones. He knows he's going to lose the third base, and he knows he's going to get overwhelmed with this counterattack that's coming across the map right now. Even though he still has that roach warren up and running, and even though he still is producing quite a bit, my army production is definitely through the roof. Already, you know, assuming that these units obviously would get picked off for practically free too. There's really not that much remaining right here for my opponent. So that was a nice set of Zerg vs Zerg games. Now, I see a lot of Zerg vs Zerg. If you play around 5.4k MMR or really... I would say like anywhere between like 4.5 to like 5.5k MMR on the European ladder. You probably have the same experience as myself. There's a lot of Zerg versus Zerg. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video nonetheless. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for all the help. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I'll see you once again in the next one.